Christine Lagarde came out with some concerning comments, or let's see if they are concerning, about a call for global Bitcoin regulation. She calls Bitcoin as some funky internet money that, could kind of propose a lot of negative or illegal activity. And what I want to do in this video is I want to give you a little bit of my comments. I want to talk to you about how such a Bitcoin ban, a Bitcoin regulation could look like, if you should be concerned, and what this could mean in the long run. Have a lot of fun in today's video. Hey and welcome to today's video. My name is Julian. On my channel, it's all about making you crypto fit. I discuss the beautiful world of decentralization, blockchain, cryptocurrencies, most of all Bitcoin, and that is exactly the topic I want to cover. I want to cover Bitcoin regulation. It's not the first time that I talk about this here on the channel. If you're new here, click the subscribe button. I do regular videos. And it's very, very important, especially in cryptocurrencies, to stay up to date. I try to do this in a very rational, common sense way, not a very hypey way. I think, it's very, very important to look at things from an objective basis. If you're back, welcome. Thanks so much. Give me a thumbs up. I really would appreciate that. Click the like button wherever you're watching this. We're streaming live on Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, many, many platforms. So do me a favor, click the like button. I really would appreciate that. So let's go right into the topic. And initially, I actually wanted to show the video, but I'm actually thinking that I probably get a copyright strike for showing the video. So I'm just gonna summarize the video, and I'll actually link up the original version down below, so you can just watch the video from Christine Lagarde. It's very, very short. It's about 1.5 minutes. And the gist of it is that she thinks Bitcoin is quite dangerous. Bitcoin is this online money that's used for money laundering, that's used for illegal activities, and she is calling for a global Bitcoin ban/regulation. And obviously you have a lot of YouTubers coming out, a lot of influencers coming out, calling this a Bitcoin ban, calling this a Bitcoin shutdown. And what I would love to do is, I would love to discuss this. I want to give you a bit of my ideas. And the very first one, and I've made videos about this in the past, so just look up past videos. This is absolutely expected. You have to expect this. And I'm going to explain to you why now. When Bitcoin is relatively small, and a couple hundred billion is small, it's completely irrelevant in a larger scale, no one really cares about Bitcoin. But the larger, the more significant something gets, the more attention it's going to pull. And the more you're going to hear those calls for regulation. Those calls maybe for a ban, those calls for, pushing it back into a box. So this is what you have to expect. Remember, read Sun Tzu's Art of War. And he talks about how a good general is prepared. A good general does a lot of contemplation, a lot of planning. And you as an investor should be a good general. And so this should be expected. You shouldn't be surprised about more and more regulators coming out and saying, hey, whoa, there's this Bitcoin thing. We have to be super careful. Now let's discuss this through. How could such a Bitcoin regulation, a Bitcoin ban work? Well, the very first thing, what you cannot do, you cannot ban Bitcoin. Banning Bitcoin would mean fundamentally that you ban math, you ban cryptography, you ban saving 24 words. It's absolutely ludicrous. You cannot ban Bitcoin. You cannot ban the protocol. You cannot ban the general concept. What you can, and now let's get to the second step. What is it that you actually can do? And this is something that we will actually see. We will definitely see more and more regulation on exchanges, on the on and off ramps, how to get in and out of Bitcoin. We'll see this more and more and more, and we'll see this all around the world. We actually see this already. I can just look at Cake, for example. Cake is not an exchange. Cake is a platform where you get cash flow in your cryptocurrencies. Now, we are basically nothing else than a custodial wallet here in Singapore. And prior to, 2020, custodial wallets had literally no regulation, nothing. And then Singapore came out with PSA and said, custodial wallets are also regulated now. Just storing funds, just the storing of funds is regulated now. And the US talks about the same thing, Europe talks about the same thing. So it's the exact way how everything is moving and how everything is progressing. Now with regulation, there's additional hurdles, there's additional oversight. So it gets harder and harder and harder and harder. And this will be the exact tendency. So don't be surprised about this. I wouldn't be surprised if KYC limitations get stricter and stricter and stricter, if there's limits, if there's more and more due diligence that companies have to do. This wouldn't surprise me. So this is one way how to put in regulation. Now let's talk about the next step. Let's say this doesn't keep Bitcoin from growing, from taking over. Because at the end, what the IMF wants to do, what all the national and central banks want to do is they want to make sure that their money, their fiat money, doesn't lose value in comparison to other things. Now, they're fine in inflating it, but what they need to be really careful about is that this value doesn't move somewhere else. So the easiest thing to do this is, or the easiest thing to stop this is by, on the one hand, putting in a lot of regulation that this money cannot leave, and then taxing the other thing. So one thing that I'm gonna see as the second step, so first one is regulating the on and off ramps, regulating the transfers. And you see this already, you see this globally, and it's gonna get more and more and more and more. Step number two, and that's a key one, is taxation. Countries all around the world are gonna come up with all kinds of taxes on this new asset class. And taxes are going to vary. It might be GST, it might be an additional capital gains. It might be in Europe, for example, that they're removing the 1 year kind of tax-free selling. So they're going to do a lot of things. So that at the end, for you, you're saying, I don't want to invest in this thing. It's very difficult to get in, very difficult to get out. Actually, even if I make 100% profit, I have to pay 50% in tax. So who cares? And that's going to be the second step. And that is going to be a major one. And now let's talk about the third step, and that's going to be the ultimate. So all these steps will only happen if Bitcoin becomes more and more and more and more valuable. Otherwise, no one's going to care. But let's say Bitcoin is going to hit gold parity. So Bitcoin hits $500,000. You know what's going to happen? The government's going to get more scared and more scared and more scared. They're trying to do whatever. This thing keeps growing. You can't really stop it. The government is going to force you to sell Bitcoins to them. That's going to be the ultimate last step. They're going to force you to sell Bitcoins to them. They're going to give you a very attractive price, but don't forget, they can print as much fiat as they want. So they can give you whatever, right? They can give you $1 million for your Bitcoins because all they're doing is printing it. And I foresee this over the next 10 years. I've said this in so many videos. That is why the maximum amount you always only want to have is half a Bitcoin, because that's the only thing the government can take away from you. That's why when I made those videos where there was a lot of criticism on, you will sell your Bitcoins, it is because of that. You need to understand where this is going to go, because the government's going to understand they can't ban Bitcoin. So they're going to do those steps and they're going to escalate it more and more and more and more. And you have to be prepared for that. That is the road that is ahead of us. At the end, and this is the key thing, all this is only ever going to happen if Bitcoin is going to be super bullish. If Bitcoin is going to go down, no one cares about it. But if Bitcoin does another 10x, 20x, 40x, 50x, 100x, that's exactly what's going to happen. And there can be as much lobbying behind it as many people say. No one is really being defrauded. No Bitcoin is just taken away. Hey, the government's going to say, hey, we're so nice to you. We're buying the Bitcoins off of you. You bought it for 50,000. Hey, we're buying it off of you for 500,000. You will see. Mark my words. Good generals learn from history and prepare for the future. And this is what you should do. If you want to have more of this stuff, subscribe to the channel, click the like button, and then we'll see each other next time. Have a great day. Yours truly, Julian. Bye-bye.